There's a war being waged every day in relationships, and most men don't even know they're on the battlefield. They walk into it with smiles, love in their hearts, and good intentions. They give everything, their time, attention, protection, money, devotion, thinking that love will be enough. Thinking that if they just love her more, do more, give more, she'll finally see their worth. That she'll love them back the same way. That she'll stay. But what if I told you most women don't want that kind of man? What if I told you that beneath the surface of society's romantic fairy tales lies something much darker, something primal, and deeply Machiavellian? Niccolò Machiavelli, the legendary strategist and political philosopher, once wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." And while he was speaking of rulers and power, the truth is the same principle applies to modern relationships. In today's world, most men are being emotionally dominated, manipulated, and controlled by women in ways they cannot even perceive. Not because women are evil, but because nature, power, and strategy play a bigger role in love than we're ever taught. This script is not for the weak. It's for the men who are ready to open their eyes. For the men who are tired of being passive participants in their own relationships. For the men who are ready to stop being dominated and start reclaiming their power. Women dominate men subtly, not with brute force, but through social finesse, emotional tactics, and psychological strategy. And the most dangerous part is, it often feels like love. Let's look at the real methods women use to control men. The very tactics Machiavelli would have warned you about. 1. Weaponizing emotion: tears, silence, disappointment, withdrawal. These are tools. They're not always signs of pain, but sometimes strategic plays in a psychological chess game. Women, by nature or conditioning, often understand the power of emotional leverage far better than men. A well-timed emotional reaction can reshape a man's behavior more effectively than any command. 2. Conditional intimacy. Most men don't realize how intimacy is used as a tool of power. It's often given, withheld, or manipulated based on compliance. If you're obedient, agreeable, and fulfilling her emotional or material needs, you get rewarded. If not, you get punished, subtly of course. But it works. Just like Machiavelli's advice to princes, control the rewards of the kingdom. In this case, the kingdom is intimacy, validation, and affection. 3. The illusion of choice. You think you're leading, deciding, steering the relationship. But in reality, you're often just reacting to a plan that's already been set. Many women understand how to make a man think he's in control while she's pulling the strings quietly. The way she frames conversations, the options she offers, even the timing of events, all orchestrated. Machiavelli warned that controlling perception is the key to power. This is perception control. For social leverage and shame, she doesn't argue with you. She simply compares you. Jessica's boyfriend does this. Real men don't act like that. Suddenly, you feel inadequate. You shift. You adapt. You start conforming to a standard you didn't choose. That's social manipulation, the same kind that Machiavelli described rulers using to keep subjects compliant. 5. Guilt as a weapon. Guilt is a silent killer. It's not loud. It doesn't shout, but makes men obey. Women who understand how to use guilt, subtle sighs, slight accusations, body language that communicates disappointment, can shape a man's behavior with just a glance. Men who want to please are especially vulnerable. 6. Controlled chaos. Some women will intentionally create emotional instability. It's not conscious for all, but the effect is the same: confusion. One day, she's affectionate, the next she's cold. One moment, she's praising you, the next criticizing. This emotional volatility keeps a man off balance, always trying to regain her approval. Just like Machiavellian rulers used unpredictability to maintain control, emotional chaos keeps the subject submissive. 7. Testing boundaries, a Machiavellian knows that people will only do what you allow. Women test boundaries not to be defiant, but to assess your strength. If you tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or neglect, you silently communicate that you will continue to tolerate it. Every test passed without resistance is a green light to dominate more. 8. Playing the victim. This tactic garners sympathy, diffuses blame, and allows manipulation without confrontation. If she's always the one hurt, the one misunderstood, the one who's struggling, then any resistance from you becomes cruelty. It's a brilliant tactic. Machiavelli wrote that appearing virtuous is more important than being virtuous. Playing the victim is the modern-day version of that principle. 9. Isolation. A woman might slowly separate you from your friends, hobbies, and independence. Not maliciously, but through emotional framing. Why do you need to go out so much? Why do you still talk to her? Over time, you become dependent on her for all your emotional needs. And that's where power shifts. The fewer outside influences you have, the easier you are to control. 10. Rewriting reality. This is where she subtly rewrites events, your intentions, or her behavior in a way that favors her position. You never said that. I didn't do that. You're imagining it. It's not always gaslighting, but it borders on it. If she can rewrite the narrative enough times, you begin to doubt yourself. And when you doubt yourself, you lose control. 11. Selective praise and validation. She doesn't give you validation freely. Only when you behave. Only when you conform. This isn't accidental. It's reinforcement conditioning. You become trained like a subject under a reward system. Machiavelli understood this. That rulers must know when to punish and when to reward to maintain order. These are not just tactics women use. These are strategies deeply embedded in power dynamics and human psychology. The truth is, most women don't want to consciously dominate. But when left unchecked, when a man lacks boundaries, principles, and self-respect, the power vacuum is filled. And often, the one who fills it is her. Men today have been taught to be passive, to please, to submit, to serve, hoping for love in return. But as Machiavelli would say, power is never given, it is taken. So what's the solution? Become a man of boundaries. Become a man of power, presence, and principle. Don't be cold, but don't be weak. Don't be cruel, but never be naive. Women are not your enemies. They're your mirrors. They reflect your strength or your lack of it. If she dominates you, it's because you have surrendered your position. If she controls you, it's because you never claimed leadership. To rise as a man, you must stop blaming women and start studying yourself. Study strategy. Study psychology. Study yourself. Machiavelli warned us, not because he hated women, but because he understood people. Love is not the opposite of power. The most powerful love is built on strength, self-respect, and unshakable discipline. Reclaim your mind. Reclaim your masculinity. Reclaim your kingdom. Because if you don't lead yourself, someone else will. Welcome to the Machiavelli Guide, where power meets purpose, and weakness gets exposed.